Hello everyone, this is Praveen Trasnayam. This is part of the series Chalk Talks, and I want to discuss agents, specifically agent-to-agent communications and agentic commerce. So now we're heading into the agentic age, and we're hearing a lot of talks about the agentic enterprise. So I really want to talk about commerce in this video. So let's use the example of buying running shoes. So let's say shoes. Let's say you have a shopping agent. Let's say this shopping agent is going to do shopping for you. It could even do it without your feedback, but ideally, and I think this is what's going to happen in most cases, is it's going to do recommendations, and it's going to know a lot about your preferences and potentially when you need to change your shoes. So let's say I have Strava, and I'm a runner and I have running shoes. So let's say I log everything on Strava, and let's say that this has access to my Gmail as well. Now, through MCP servers, it is able to access this information, so it's able to pull this in. This is going to the agent. And let's say this agent, it could run once a week, or it could be triggered by if you're in a mall or a shopping center, or if you're if there's a certain promotion that gets to your inbox, it could proactively recommend to see if those promotions apply to you or you would be interested in it. So this agent could be triggered or it could run on a schedule. Now for running shoes, let's say 700 kilometers. This is what I've heard. 700 kilometers is around 700 kilometers is it's how long you should be running in a. It's the life of the shoe. For you should be replacing it ideally after running in them for 700 kilometers. Let's say it accesses that through Strava, and it realizes you need a new pair of running shoes. It knows your shoe size potentially from your Gmail from previous transactions, and it goes out and it recommends. It looks at promotions. It looks at maybe the subscription emails that you have, the promotion emails that you have in your inbox, and it does a recommendation, and it could even add it to your cart. Let's say now you have a cart here. How would I draw the cart? Yeah, so let's say it adds it to the cart, but obviously you're going to be the final decision maker there. Now, I think what's really interesting here, and this is what I really want to get into, is what happens when you receive it and it's the wrong color or it's the wrong size. Now, there's a problem with the transaction. There's a dispute. And this is where I think with agentic commerce, there's a huge opportunity here in terms of how these disputes are going to be resolved. So there needs to be a dispute resolution framework or a layer for agentic commerce. Now, the traditional way is for you to open up a ticket. Let's say you open up a support ticket. It gets triaged. I mean, now they're probably using LLMs potentially to triage and look at what needs to happen. But the big opportunity here is for agent to agent communications. How about we skip this whole system where a human manually enters it in, and you have a shopping agent, and you tell your shopping agent or your customer service agent that acts on your behalf that you're dissatisfied with this purchase because it's not what you thought it would be. It's the wrong color, it's the wrong shoe size. Something's gone wrong with the transaction. And that's where agent to agent communications comes in. So let's say A to A. And instead of you opening up the ticket Let that agent communicate on your behalf. It's going to go out, it's going to go to the vendor, and it's going to figure out what it needs to do. Now, the big opportunity here is there needs to be that there could be that intermediary, that layer for disputes. So dispute resolution layer. And this acts as an intermediary to the vendor, or it could be existing support ticket provider support, because a lot of companies do outsource or contract out their support. Now, because now we're not dealing with human to human interactions, there's this whole dispute resolution process is going to be disrupted, and there's going to be a lot of changes. I see a big opportunity here in terms of negotiations, how to resolve the issue. If it's the wrong shoe size, okay, should you go in person to the closest retailer, or should they send you a label that you could print out and send? How do you resolve this issue? And you want to make sure the customer experience is top notch. So let's say that's CX. Now, again, because now we're heading into that agent to agent communications space, how do you know what the expectations are? There are going to be a new class of contracts, and we're going to have contracts for agents. So similar to how Kubernetes cloud computing, you describe the state. There are contracts for containers. So with cloud computing, uh, there's the understanding of what the expectations are, what the payload expectations are, the system design. Now, the idea, I believe this is where we're heading. I'm confident we're going to get more standardized contracts. For some reason, every other industry has standards in terms of cybersecurity. There's for measurements, for heating and air conditioning. There are all these standards, but for contracts, and it may be because of jurisdiction or other reasons. I'm not a lawyer, but it looks like we don't have standard contracts. We do have boilerplates, but it's not like there's an industry standard that everyone likes to use. I think the closest would be the SAFE concept from YC and some other investors, where it's a standard agreement, and everyone decided this is how to fund these early stage startups. There's the SAFE vehicle, the contract for equity, and the agreement there. But with agents and the increase in velocity, with a lot more vendors, a lot more agents interacting and transacting, there's a huge opportunity for contracts. And these contracts, it could be standardized, it could be custom made, but you're gonna everything's gonna be defined with these contracts. And then you're going to, in terms of dispute resolution, there is going to be another AI system there. Of course, escalations, eventually you could reach a human, but with the rate of how transactions are going to evolve, we're going to have more commerce. We're going to have more transactions. As a result, we may have more disputes, and that's where we need a new dispute resolution protocol and a dispute resolution layer. And that's where agent suits, I truly believe it's going to be a great way to be involved in commerce by ensuring that people get what they expected. If it doesn't have to be running shoes, it could be any product or service, and it's really good that now we're able to write contracts and understand exactly what the expectations are. And this is one of the advantages of AI and LLMs and all the developments. Now, people are able to see more information, interact with more information. The levels of information asymmetry is reduced. So everyone's everyone should be on the same page when these transactions occur, and that's what I believe is going to happen, where the information asymmetry is going to be reduced. The customer, the consumer, the prosumer, the enterprise client, they're going to be more sophisticated, and where these transactions they're going to be more seamless. And with these well-defined contracts, if there are any issues, we're going to resolve them with this dispute resolution framework. Agencies is a part of that. So I do have more information. I do see I'm at the 10-minute mark. So if you would like more information, please do reach out to me. I'm Praveen Rasanayagam. Thank you.